Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am paper crafting a banner that will go over my fireplace. This banner is inspired by one of my favorite things to make, and it's this woven star, which I've started calling my woven snowflake ornament. I made this ornament in 2015. It is my most popular video on YouTube, and every year I like to make a different version of it. This was last year's version where I did the black and white and red, and I did some stitching for the front of it. But today we're going to take this concept and make a bunch and turn it into a banner. I am using this 6x6 paper pad called Jingle All the Way from Echo Park, which I got as a free gift with an order from scrapbook.com. I love that. So you're going to need one 6x6 piece of paper to create one snowflake, and you're going to take that 6x6 piece of paper and cut it into 1/2-inch strips, giving you 12 strips. So I've done that with all 8 sheets of paper I'm going to use today. We're going to start by working with 6 of those strips and setting 6 aside. You're going to take 2 of those strips and fold them in half, which helps us find the center point and get started much easier. I'm also going to use the help of my grid mat to line these up. So I'm taking one piece, putting a little square of glue in the center, and then adding the second strip in kind of a cross shape right there in the center, lining them up in those center points, and you can see how having that folded line really helps. Okay, next we're going to turn this so that it is the opposite direction and add our second, or actually our third strip, and we're going to put that right above the one that we put through the middle. Now this is going to have just a tiny bit of a gap between the 2 strips. We're going to rotate that and add our next strip. Now, when you look at this up close, you'll be able to see that these are already starting to look like they're woven. So the 2 we just added are on top, and the one we did before is on the bottom. So we have over, under, over. Now we're going to turn this again and weave in our last 2 pieces. So this is going to go over, under, over. And now we just need to glue that in place on those 3 spots where the paper overlaps. I love liquid glue for these because you have the opportunity to wiggle it around and get the spacing just right and make sure they're straight. You might get a little glue on your fingers if it seeps out, so kind of keep a baby wipe on hand or something that you like to clean off your fingers. And then for the next one, we rotate the paper again, and on the other side, we weave it the same way, over, under, over, and then glue it in place. And each time we glue, we're going to hold that down and make sure that it's secure and that it's not going to wiggle around anymore before we move on to the next step. So you will see me taking some time and holding things in place on today's video. So there's our first 6 pieces. We're going to do the exact same thing with the other 6 pieces. And you can see how it's all woven together there in the middle. So now we have our 2 pieces, and now we need to start doing the curving process. So we're going to turn this so now it looks like an X. We're going to take those 2 inner pieces and curve them over and glue them together, squaring up those corners. Also, you might notice that the side that's going to show the most in my snowflake is actually to the back side. I want the red to show the most, so I have it on the back. So make sure you think about that before you start your snowflake. We're going to repeat this on all of the sides. So 4 different times we're going to do this curving and gluing together. And this is the one that's really important that you make sure you squeeze and hold it together because the paper wants to pull against itself. It's being curved. So really make sure that that's dry before you move on to the next one. If it comes apart, then you just reglue it. But that is an important one to hold right there. And you can see it's starting to really take shape now. And once all 4 of these are curved and glued together, you should have 4 strips left over. Those are important because those are the thing that's going to help us attach these 2 together. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other one. But as I went along, I noticed that if you take your finger and curve this just a tiny bit, it's really going to help you with the curving and gluing process if you have kind of pattern paper that's heavyweight, which mine was. So there's a little tip I haven't talked about before when I've made videos of this woven snowflake. Okay, once the two pieces are now curved, we're going to flip one over and lay them on top of each other so that each section has one curved piece and one straight piece. Then all we need to do is tuck that straight piece inside of the curved piece, hooking them together. So I did one side, I'm going to then flip it over and repeat that on the other side. So it's all hooked together. And now we're nearly done with this snowflake. All we need to do is glue those strips to the curved piece. I like to make sure that the strip is centered on the point of that curved piece when I'm gluing it down. I also like to glue one side, then do the opposite, because you can kind of then pull the strip tight, and then I just move on to the next one, and then we'll glue the opposite one at that same time. Once all of those are glued down, you're going to snip off the piece that goes past that curved point. And all I do is follow that point with my scissors to cut them off. It's quite easy to do. Sometimes there'll be a little glue and they might get a little bit sticky, but pretty quick and easy to cut those off. And there we have the finished snowflake. I love it so much. It's absolutely one of my favorite projects to make at holiday time. It's a great gift topper, a great ornament, and they're pretty sturdy, surprisingly. And once you're done with this, I noticed I had some gaps on my red snowflake in particular. So what I wanted to do is just put a little glue there and glue that down because it's just not as finished off. Now here I had these laying out to show you all 4 of the different colors, and I thought you could hook the ends together like this and have like a hanging piece, maybe put the letters Noel on it. Here's all 8 of my pieces, and I wanted to show you again, the center of my original snowflake has a gold doily on it. People ask me all the time if you can get that gold doily. You cannot. It was a pre-die cut packaged item I got from Stampin' Up. It's long since been retired, but here's another option. A die set from scrapbook.com from Echo Park, and you could do that. Or if you have an electronic cutter, you can purchase a doily. Just search your favorite websites where you buy dies or where you buy your electronic cuttables and find a doily that you think would look cute on yours. I found mine on the Silhouette store and I sized it to be about 2 1/4 inches so it would fit my letter. Then I could also pick whatever color I wanted this to be, just like a die. So I like the versatility of that even more than buying a pre-packaged doily. Next, I am using the classic type alphabet. This is the uppercase, and I'm going to die cut the words "Be Jolly" from some white cardstock for my banner, and they are just perfect in size to go in the center of my banner. Next, I have this circle die set from Trinity Stamps. It creates an etched edge on your circle. It's so delish. I love that. So now it's time to glue everything together. I'm putting the red circles inside my black doily, gluing them in place, and then each doily will get a letter except one. I wanted to have a space between the words "be" and "jolly" and put something cute on the one that went in between. We'll get back to that one later, but here we are gluing on those letters, and that will go in the center of each snowflake. To attach them, I'm using a foam square. This is my favorite foam squares, which are from the dollar store, the Dollar Tree. You can find them in like the home section where they have like super glue and hardware type things. And I added a little glue to that as well because it's kind of a textured surface we're gluing them onto. Now these are the strips I'm creating for the hangers. Now these are leftover pieces because my paper pad was a little bit bigger than 6 inches to accommodate the hole where they punched to hang them up. So I just cut a little piece off, made a loop, and I'm attaching that with some glue and double stick tape to my snowflakes. Now look at the snowflakes where I attached the letters so that the back side of my piece was at the very top. The back side of that curved piece is showing at the very top, so I could attach these loops to that. Now maybe you're thinking, couldn't you just punch a hole in that? When you punch a hole in something that's going to hang on a banner, it has a tendency to turn to the side. I don't like that look. I didn't want that for this banner especially, so that's why I'm using this loop system. I'm also using this jute twine, another of my favorite Dollar Tree finds. Whenever I'm there, I have a tendency to buy one. Well, I guess I only have two, but I don't want to run out. It's $1. It's a huge roll. It's so yummy because it has that little bit of furriness to it. I love that. I love that kind of rustic look. So I just made a loop on the end of this twine, and then I'm going to cut this off. I always cut my string or my twine or my ribbon longer than I think I'm going to need for my banner. I like to have some room to play with it. So I put on the bee, and then I'm going to go to the opposite end and start stringing on each of these pieces to spell out Be Jolly. I do find it very helpful to lay these out in the order you want them to go on your banner, because nothing's worse than stringing up a whole banner and realizing you spelled something wrong. And then you have to redo it, and hopefully it's not too late. So there we are with Be Jolly on the string, ready to go. Now on the opposite end, I'm just going to do a slip knot, and I'll do that after I get this on. So this is my red tool that has glitter in it. I got this from the Dollar Tree like last year. I've had it in my stash, and I thought, oh, this would look really cute to go in between each of these pieces on my banner. Like, I really wanted to make this a home decor piece and have it just be extra special. So I like banners that have textures and different elements on them. So I just folded this over, tucked the ends through the hole, and it tightened it around that string or twine. And this was a really cute idea until I didn't have enough. Now remember, I got this last year at the Dollar Tree. So I decided, well, I live right by the Dollar Tree. I'm going to drive up there and I'm going to get another roll. The Dollar Tree was closed it closed at 2 o'clock that day. I have since found out the owner was in an accident, so they're short-staffed and I feel really bad, but I had to take this off and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, except also when we went out to the Dollar Tree, we had to go to Hobby Lobby. So I was like, oh, I'll find something different at Hobby Lobby. So I came home, took all of this off, and remembered that this tool has glitter in it. And it made a glitter mess. So I was like, well, I don't have to deal with that glitter mess anymore. Look at all this glitter. Wow. So set that aside, and now we bring out the burlap ribbon. Look at this red burlap ribbon. I love burlap. By the way, I got this at 50% off, so that made me super happy. And now I'm just going to cut this to be, I think it's about 12 inches, and I'm cutting it down the middle because it was just too wide for my project. And also, now that I've cut it in half, the inside edge has no seam, but the outside edge does. So I decided we're going to go seamless and cut off that seam on both pieces. And then if you thought the glitter ribbon was way messier than burlap ribbon, you would be wrong. It's quite furry. So this is just about playing and having fun and getting a little messy. I really wanted some bells on my banner, and guess what? The Hobby Lobby did not have any bells. And I had these particular bells that were rose gold, which is really cute, but it didn't go with my banner. And so I decided to paint them white and have them look like, you know, something you would buy at a farmhouse decor store, a vintage market. And I am using white acrylic paint from the Dollar Tree, which I have mentioned several things I've gotten from the Dollar Tree. But this paint, is it white? I don't think it's white. Nothing is happening with this paint. So I went and grabbed my daughter's paint, which used to be my paint that she stole from me, so I had to buy that other white paint. This is also from the Dollar Tree. And this one's actually white, so I'm not sure what happened. It's a different brand, but this, you can see, is actually covering the bell. Now, I did have to do a few coats of these, but also, my bell doesn't have any sound. That is full volume. There's no sound. Nope. Only 3 of my bells were actually bells. Is this how crafting goes for everybody? I'm pretty sure it does. All right, the bells are fully dry and painted. Now we're going to put all the things together. So I have my burlap there. I practiced with it first, so I made sure it was going to look good and I had enough and all the things before I proceeded and had to take a bunch of these off. I used the same jute twine to tie this around my original jute cord for the banner in a little bow. After tying it one time, I put the bell on and then I finished tying the bow. And that I thought was so rustic and cute, just like that. I'm going to trim the ends of that twine off so they're not, you know, interfering too much with the rest of the jute there. And just be careful not to cut your original cord, right? All right, so we're going to kind of space this out as we go, but you can see there I'm laying it over my cord. I don't know what to call it. Why is that hard? Cord, my original string for my banner. Tie it one time, string on the bell, tie a bow, and play with the bow to get it approximately the same size as the previous bow. Trim off the ends. And then I'm going to show you what I like to do at the bottom of this. You could leave it just like this, but I like to fold it in half, cut on the fold with your scissors pointed toward the end, and give it a little flagged banner at the bottom. All right, so here's the part where I'm tying the end of the banner in a slip knot, because once I hang this up, I want to be able to adjust the spacing and then put my final knot in the end of this banner. And for that open space, I pulled out this poinsettia that I had on hand and stuck it there. Maybe I'll change it out when I find like the perfect thing later in life. But the banner is now hung on my fireplace and I think that it looks really good. I had a lot of fun making this. You know, there was ups, there was downs, just as crafting always is. And I know I'll be using this for years to come. I think that it goes really well with my cute little village up there on the mantle. And I did get another thing I wanted to use. You can see there in the bottom right, there's a garland that is felted wool balls. I just got this at a vintage market. I thought it would go really good on my fireplace with my banner, but I have like corbels on the bottom of my mantle and I just couldn't get it to hang right with the banner. So I'll work on that. And maybe that garland will have to go with my hot cocoa bar. But there is my fireplace decor complete with the banner. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I know some of you have been asking for a banner video and this one's been in the back of my mind and I'm so glad to finally have it created and hanging up. So if you are new here, feel free to subscribe. I have new videos all the time where I make other paper crafting projects and lots of cards. I love making cards. And if you're interested in any of the supplies I used, I'll have the ones I can linked for you below. And I will see you all again very soon on my next video. Thank you so much for watching and happy stamping. Bye.